Today's story is Rebekah, who is known as the mother of Israel. Her story starts from a well of a small village in Mesopotamia. She offers water to a passerby, which becomes a precious event, much like Abraham's unexpectedly serving an angel. To back up her story a bit, her story is deeply connected to the story of Abraham. Abraham, who was advanced in age and wanted to find a suitable wife for his son Isaac. Abraham was deeply concerned that Isaac should not marry a Canaanite woman, so he called his chief servant and entrusted him with this important task. Abraham's servant was charged with the mission of finding a wife for Isaac from among Abraham's relatives in Mesopotamia. To ensure the servant's commitment to this task, Abraham has his servant swear an oath to fulfill this promise. Abraham's servant embarked on a long journey to the city of Nahor in Mesopotamia, where Abraham's brother lived. He took with him 10 camels loaded with gifts, including precious jewelry, as a sign of Isaac's wealth and the sincerity of his proposal. When the servant reached the city of Nahor, he arrived at a well just outside the city. This well was a common meeting place for women who came to draw water. The servant paused to pray for God's guidance, asking for a clear sign. He prayed that the woman who would offer both him and his camels water to drink and who responded kindly to his request would be the chosen bride for Isaac. As the servant was still praying, a young woman named Rebekah arrived at the well. She was beautiful and virtuous. When the servant asked her for a drink, she not only provided water but also offered to draw water for his camels, demonstrating her kindness and generosity. Seeing Rebekah's willingness to go beyond what was asked, the servant was deeply moved. He gave her valuable gifts of jewelry, inquiring about her family. Learning that she was from Abraham's kin, he realized that God had answered his prayer. The servant explained his mission and asked if Rebekah would agree to marry Isaac. Rebekah, who displayed remarkable faith and trust in the servant's story and God's plan, consented to the proposal. The servant gave Rebekah more gifts and returned with her to Canaan. When Isaac saw her, he was comforted and loved her deeply. Their union was a testament to God's guidance and the virtues of faith, kindness, and generosity. Rebekah's virtues in this episode. Rebekah's encounter with Abraham's servant at the well highlights several virtues. 1. Kindness. Rebekah's immediate act of kindness in offering water to a stranger and his camels reveals her compassionate and generous nature. 2. Faith and trust. Rebekah's willingness to trust in the servant's story and God's guidance illustrates her faith and her belief in divine providence. 3. Hospitality. Rebekah's readiness to offer hospitality to a traveler exemplifies the virtue of welcoming strangers and showing hospitality, a core value in many ancient cultures. 4. Humility. Her humble demeanor and willingness to accept the servant's proposal with grace demonstrate humility. 5. Obedience to God's will. Rebekah's acceptance of the marriage proposal without hesitation reflects her obedience to what she perceived as God's plan. This episode shows Rebekah as a woman of exceptional character and virtue, making her an ideal match for Isaac and an important figure in the biblical narrative. Her qualities of kindness, faith, and hospitality are celebrated as virtues to be emulated by believers. Interesting part. The story of Rebekah's involvement in Jacob receiving the birthright instead of his brother Esau is a complex and morally ambiguous narrative in the Bible. Some view Rebekah's actions as cunning and deceptive. She devised a plan involving disguises and misleading her husband to achieve her desired outcome. This interpretation sees Rebekah's actions as manipulative and dishonest. However, we can see that Rebekah is also a woman of faith. This is based on the following. Rebekah may have believed she was fulfilling God's plan, as she was aware of the prophecy that the older would serve the younger. In this view, Rebekah's actions were guided by her faith in God's providence. Rebekah's actions can be seen as those of a protective mother who wanted to ensure that God's intended plan was carried out. She may have believed that Jacob was better suited for the birthright and blessing. Rebekah's motives may have been multifaceted. She may have combined her knowledge of the prophecy with a desire to protect Jacob from a potentially unfavorable marriage to a Canaanite woman through Esau's choice.